Part 51. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 502. Chapter 502, The result that shocked everyone. One more request for customization. The gunpowder path was burned all the way by the flames, leaving only a trail of black ashes. The small spark burned until it finally ran directly to the side of the explosive bag, and the explosive bag was detonated instantly. Boom! A huge noise sounded, and the beasts that were originally tied nearby were also blown away. After the huge noise, there was thick smoke. After the smoke slowly dissipated, a black pit was left on the ground. This scene made people nearby. The people watching were a little caught off guard. Some people didn't take it seriously. They didn't cover their ears just now, so the loud noise scared them a little. They stared blankly not far away, looking like they didn't know what had just happened. His expression was very stunned. Yan Jiao blinked his red eyes in disbelief and said in surprise, "Is this the power of the new weapon?" He retracted his doubtful thoughts, and further retracted his disapproval of these explosive packs. The power of this explosive pack was indeed very strong. It was so strong that it was beyond his expectation, and he did not expect that this weapon could actually have such an attack. Method. The weapons in his impression were usually held in the hand to fight wild beasts, or they were directly fired from bows and arrows some time ago. This was the first time he had seen weapons that exploded directly like this. It's really amazing that this weapon actually makes a loud noise. Kang Shi was shocked. He originally thought that these weapons would only make the loudest noise, but he didn't expect that besides the huge noise, he also saw a little flame, followed by a big explosion. And most of the beasts that were originally tied to specific positions were also there is no trace, and some of the remaining beasts are only charred corpses. This scene can't help but make people feel chills on their backs. What would it be like if this weapon exploded in the crowd? I'm afraid those people would be blown up directly. Until the skin is torn to pieces, even if you don't die, you will become disabled. Kurayashi retracted the idea that these weapons were only used to scare away ferocious beasts. Originally, he only thought that the loud noise would be used to scare away the opponent, but he did not expect it to be so powerful. Is this the weapon we just made in Yang'an building? Yu Ying couldn't believe her eyes. She was still covering her ears with both hands. The loud sound just now made her ears a little unbearable, and she couldn't react for a while. What shocked the fox-eared lady was that those who looked, how could a very inconspicuous material produce such a powerful weapon? Wu is really amazing. I apologize for my thoughts just now. Coco's expression was not only shocked, but also a little annoyed. She wondered why she suddenly came up with that idea. After all, she thought these weapons must be useless at first. Because weapons made of those inconspicuous things, actually it is a bit unrealistic to say that it can be used to repel ferocious beasts. But the scene just now had such a great impact on her that the thoughts in her mind were completely washed away. The power of this weapon, the power is really too strong. This is the only thought in her mind right now. At the same time, she is very upset. Sure enough, she is still too superficial and there are still many things to learn. After all, it can be done with such a few ordinary things. To create such a powerful weapon, it's easy to imagine that I didn't think enough about it. With this weapon, we can definitely repel those ferocious beasts. Shalan instantly became more confident. Because they didn't find anything when they went out to look for iron or a few days ago, their mood was a bit depressed. I thought it would be a fierce battle when Yang Ya arrived. After all, there was no such thing as Wushuo's musket. But it's completely different now. What appears in front of them now is a weapon with such powerful explosive power. How about it? Can such a weapon repel ferocious beasts? Subai asked with a smile. He was very satisfied with the test explosion process just now. The power was far beyond his expectation. But this was all thanks to his golden ratio and the purity of the materials, otherwise it would not have happened. There was no way to make such a powerful explosive package. At first, he only thought that the explosive might just blow up the wild beasts bolted near the explosive package. He didn't expect that the beasts that were farther away would also be affected. Although he didn't suffer much. It was too much damage, but there were obviously signs of burns. It can be said that the first time I made the explosive pack, I achieved a great success. As long as I seriously improve the ratio, the power may be even greater than the current one. Absolutely, it shouldn't be a problem for this weapon to blow up a low-level beast, Yan Jiao said without hesitation. He was talking about the ferocious beast at the junior totem warrior level. If this weapon is detonated at close range, it is absolutely fine. Yes, one weapon can deal with one ferocious beast, which makes it much easier for us, Kang Shi immediately echoed. After watching the test explosion of this explosive pack, this was the first thing that came to his mind. Is this kind of power only enough to deal with primary ferocious beasts? Subai nodded thoughtfully and continued, then it seems that the power of the explosive package needs to be increased. After all, the information he received showed that the ferocious beasts also have the intermediate totem warrior level. If the current explosive packs are only enough to deal with the junior ones, then they need to study it carefully. Yes. Yan Jiao nodded and said in surprise, which, can the power of this weapon be increased? Of course, it's entirely possible to improve it properly, Subai said without hesitation. Then all we need to do is add more black powder to the animal hide and make the explosive package bigger. But we still need to improve the ratio to increase the explosive content. The power of bags. It's really great. In this way, we don't have to be afraid of those crazy beasts, Kang Shi said excitedly. He suddenly recalled the scenes of dealing with those ferocious beasts in the past years, which can be said to be very bloody. Not only those ferocious beasts were hunted, but even the totem warriors were often injured or even died, so every year it's always a very heavy time. Wu, do you need our help? If we can make this weapon more powerful, we will say nothing to shirk it. Yan Jiao immediately stood up straight and said seriously. Suddenly seeing that the warriors of the tribe had hope, he was of course excited, and even more wanted to help himself. Yes, Wu, we can do anything, Kang Shi also immediately followed and said. Ha 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 ha, just give me a good training of those soldiers and wait for the arrival of Yang Yet. Subai smiled and continued, let Coco handle the matter of the explosive packs. He planned to let the blonde girl study it carefully. After all, the other party is very smart, plus she was shocked just now, she will definitely be able to work out a better explosive ratio. Yes, Coco said without hesitation, and at the same time, the expression on his face was particularly solemn. This time the research was different from before. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 503. Chapter 503, Mass Production. 2 more please customize. After Subai and others tested the explosive package, they returned to Yong'an building and prepared to start researching a new gunpowder ratio. The reason why the first gunpowder achieved the greatest success was because the proportions were very precise and every detail was paid attention to. After all, there is a saying that the devil exists in the details. Doing well in the details is equivalent to pulling the devil out of the details, so that you will not make mistakes. Wu, leave the next matching to me, I will definitely take it very seriously, Keek said in a very mission-oriented tone. The blonde girl just wanted to go back to the laboratory to experiment as soon as possible. This experiment is much more meaningful than the previous one. Well, come and ask me if you don't know anything, Subai nodded and said, also seeing how impatient the other party was. Yes, Coco nodded heavily, and then eagerly got into the laboratory and started tinkering. Tap tap tap. Coco is really much smarter and can help Wu in such things. Shalan sighed. She suddenly felt that she was very incompetent as a witch. She didn't expect that she couldn't help with such an important matter. If only she were as smart as the blonde girl, she would be able to help the witch a lot, be busy instead of just sitting around like now. You can also be of great help. How is the situation in the tribe recently? Have you divided up all those straw sandals? Subai asked. He issued a book on making straw sandals before the rainy season, and had already started to let people in the tribe make them. The purpose was to allow the entire tribe to wear straw sandals, instead of just like nowadays, most people are barefoot. In this primitive era, except for those big tribes, not everyone can wear straw sandals. Those who can wear straw sandals naturally have better status, or they have obtained a lot of money. The meat is exchanged for it, or it is a warrior in the tribe. Like the Yanlong tribe, only warriors who go out into the forest can get straw sandals. Because they have to hunt and patrol, they must have shoes. People in the tribe don't have to go anywhere, so most of them go barefoot. But there are also disadvantages. Some people with weak constitutions can easily catch cold with bare feet, and those with bad gastrointestinal problems can even cause diarrhea, etc. And what Subai was thinking about was turning the tribe into a city. People in the tribe didn't have shoes and looked like barbarians. How would this look like a city? Moreover, the production process in the straw sandals making book was also very simple. It doesn't take too much time to make, and it's okay to let the tribesmen have a pair. All of them asked people to come with their ID cards to collect straw sandals. It can be said that there are people from the tribe Shalan swept away the gloom just now and would be particularly serious whenever reporting on work. Did you make sure everyone had it? Are there even those furry kids? Subai asked. What he didn't want was for the tribe to form too distinct a class form. What he wanted to achieve was for everyone to be equal, so everyone must have. I have them all, because it was mainly me who registered the ID card, so I remember it relatively clearly. Shalan said firmly. The cat-eared girl didn't let anyone else do this. She did most of it herself, so the memory is particularly fresh. That's great, so what's their feedback like? Subai asked curiously. He wanted to know what kind of mentality the people in the tribe would have after receiving the straw sandals he gave. They were all very grateful to Wu. At first, they all couldn't believe it, and they were even a little afraid to accept the straw sandals. Shalan wanted to laugh when she recalled that scene. The cat-eared girl remembered that when she gave the straw sandals to those people, they didn't dare to accept them. It's not that she thinks these straw sandals are bad, she just thinks why there are these things for no reason. Of course, they wanted to accept them directly at first. After all, they had never seen any shoes, let alone worn them, but their reason told them that something was not right. Until the cat-eared girl repeatedly said that these straw sandals were given directly to them, those people were willing to accept it when they didn't have to exchange anything for it. After accepting it, those people couldn't put it down and kept holding the straw sandals in their hands for a long time. They even kept rubbing the shoes against their faces. I think this is a bit incredible. Well, they will work harder, Subai said with a slight smile. He did not think that giving them free straw sandals this time was a loss. On the contrary, it was an act to gain people's hearts. No one was willing to give free straw sandals to others, even from the tribe. The same goes for the chief. But he did it, and he was the first one, not to mention the quality of those straw sandals was very good. The people of the tribe will definitely be deeply grateful to him, and will follow the tribe even more closely in the future. Will also work harder. Woo, this is really a good idea. Those straw sandals are not difficult to make, so it won't take us too much time. Shalan said while blinking her blue eyes. She thinks this method is very good, because the heavy snow and ice is coming soon, and it will definitely be very cold if everyone has bare feet. Distributing straw sandals at this time is the time to win the hearts of the people. By the way, what was the response to the shampoo soap and laundry soap made by Coco? Subai asked. After the blonde girl developed these things some time ago, she began mass production. When a certain amount was produced, a small piece was distributed to the leaders of the tribe, and others could not use it for the time being. They all said that those things are very useful, and now they compete to take a bath every day. Shalan covered her mouth and smiled. After those products were produced, those who were given the soap rushed to use it. After using it once, they fell in love with this product. Not only did their hair feel cleaner than ever before, and the smell is very fragrant. Originally, they didn't like bathing very much, but after getting this kind of thing, they look forward to taking a bath every day. Every time they take a bath, they feel very comfortable all over the body, and the fragrant smell is comparable to the stinky smell on their bodies. It's much better. And they also like those laundry soaps. They always felt that the animal skins they wore could not be washed clean, but after using the soap, they found that it was very clean. Of course, there will be some smell left on it, and the smell is also very comfortable. As long as it is useful, let the tribesman continue to produce some. Sudbai nodded with satisfaction. He had previously specially built a workshop to produce laundry soap and shampoo soap. I've started getting people staring and will be producing a lot soon. Shalan nodded heavily and said. Second update, please support and customize. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 504. Chapter 504, A Born Painter. 3 more please customize. When looked at the pair of straw sandals on her feet with great satisfaction, her brown eyes kept staring at them. She shook her feet happily and said with a smile, Sister, look, these shoes are so beautiful. It looks good and is very comfortable to wear. Min raised her foot and put it down again to feel it. The 2 sisters queued up early in the morning to pick up their ID cards. They didn't believe it at first. After all, this was the first time that Wu directly sent something. It hadn't happened before. Did you say that only hard work can give you something? Why was it given directly this time? But after the 2 of them actually got it, they were all surprised. They didn't expect that there were actually shoes given directly. And the appearance of these shoes is also very good. Not to mention the quality, the feeling of wearing shoes is completely different from the feeling of not wearing shoes. Sister, why did Wu just give us shoes this time? Wen Tianzhen asked. Although the little girl is very young and does not have to work, she also knows the rules of the Yanlong tribe. People who do not work have no means or food, and there is no rule for getting something for nothing. The little girl remembers it very clearly. After all, only the elder sister is working hard between the 2 of them, and the food that can be exchanged for is very little. The 2 of them can only eat separately, so the little girl remembers this rule very clearly. I don't know either, but there must be a reason for being a witch. Min shook her head and said, the girl didn't know about this. She only knew that when she received the news, she was very surprised and went out with her ID card with a dubious attitude. But she was collecting the ID card at the time. I was shocked when I arrived. I didn't expect that the tribe would start to popularize this thing. I was told not to throw away a small wooden board. If you throw it away, it means you are not a member of the Yanlong tribe. If you accidentally throw it away, you must go there in time. It's a bit weird to apply for a replacement. She also heard that this ID card will be very useful in the future. In the future, this ID card will be needed to divide houses, food, etc. But not to mention, these are the most beautiful shoes I have ever seen. Wen smiled happily. Ha ha ha, Min covered her little cherry mouth and smiled extraordinarily sweetly, and said softly, how old are you? I have only seen so many shoes. I'm afraid you don't even know what real shoes look like, right? My elder sister is really loved by my younger sister. The naivete and adult tone made me laugh. Wen shrank her head and said with a smile, Sister, you must have seen a lot of shoes, are these the most beautiful? Min nodded without hesitation and continued, these shoes are the most beautiful. When my sister received this pair of shoes, she was shocked by the craftsmanship and appearance of the shoes. She never expected that these straw sandals would be so beautiful. They are just ordinary shoes woven from vines or grass. You can actually make so many tricks. Sister, how about I go to work too, so that we don't have to starve? Wen said immediately. After receiving this pair of straw sandals, my sister became more determined to work. No, how old are you? You still need to be literate. I can do the work by myself, Min refused outright. My sister had been working in the Azabu workshop. After being picked up and evaluated for a period of time, she entered the work there. Because she looked harmless and had a very well-behaved personality. Moreover, the original tribe has been destroyed, so there is no harm in working in a linen cloth workshop. The most important thing is that my sister's hands are very skillful, and the linen cloth she makes is fine and beautiful. But, Wen stuttered when she was excited. She calmed down and continued, but it's really hard to rely on my sister alone. Every day, my sister sees her sister lying to herself that she is full in order to make her eat more. It's so distressing. Sometimes I am so hungry that my stomach is growling, but I still insist on saying that I am full. After all, the food is not enough, so I can only do this. Of course, my sister sometimes does this too. Sometimes she just says that she has no appetite and doesn't want to eat. But I would often be exposed by my sister, and then force her to eat more, so this trick didn't work for my sister at all. That's not possible. What kind of work can you do with your current small body? Many jobs are not suitable for you, Min refused directly. Although it would be tiring for the two sisters to rely on themselves for food, the younger sister can't work now. I can do anything, I can also help build houses and so on. Wen looks like a little kid. You, just stay here obediently, Min scratched the other person's nose. But now that I have new shoes, I can go out without hurting my feet. Wen shook her legs again. The excuse her sister didn't let her go out before was because she didn't have shoes, and the tribe is now building houses and paving roads, which can easily hurt her feet. But now this excuse is no longer tenable, because they all have new shoes. Even if you want to go out, you can only stay nearby. You can't cause trouble to others, you know, Min warned. My sister is most worried that the two sisters will cause trouble to others. After all, they are not from this tribe in the first place, so they have to slowly integrate into this tribe, so they cannot cause too much trouble to others. I know, I will be very good. Wen narrowed her eyes and smiled. Come on, I'll take you out for a walk and show you what the tribe has become. Min said softly. I have known it for a long time, and I can see it every day when I read. Wen muttered. Sister Ching Ching really regarded herself as a child, and actually forgot that she had to learn literacy every day. She walked around the tribe every day, how could she not see the changes in the tribe? Yes, I almost forgot. So what did you learn about literacy today? Min asked. My elder sister would ask her about her homework every day, wanting to see how much she had mastered. Sister, I am not very good at painting. I wonder if a witch needs to be able to paint, Wen said suddenly. My sister's biggest talent is drawing, but at most she can only draw on the ground. But despite this, the patterns she draws are also very beautiful, as if she is a born painter. Don't think about it, why do witches need these? Come on, show me the words you learned today. Min immediately denied it. Alright. Wen slowly took out a notebook made of papyrus. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 505. Chapter 505, Two People in the Forest. 4 more, please customize. Rustling. In the dense forest, Two people were walking rapidly, fearless of the scorching sun in the sky, with their two pairs of necks staring straight ahead. He ran very fast, and even if those branches scratched his hands, he wouldn't feel any pain. The animal skins they wear are very close-fitting, so they can run very easily. The two people sometimes shuttled on the ground, and sometimes jumped into the trees to avoid the wild beasts on the ground. It seems that no matter what external circumstances, they can't stop them. Half an hour later, the two stopped in front of a small river and began to wash their faces and take a short rest. "How long will it take for us?" a middle-aged man suddenly asked. The middle-aged man's name is Seem. He is a junior totem warrior. He is very tall and burly at 1.85 meters. He is bald and has several scars on his face. He looks particularly fierce. And the muscles on his upper body, which are not wearing animal skins, are particularly obvious. They are large and thick, just like mountain peaks. "I don't know. According to what they said, it will probably take another 2 or 3 days," another skinny man replied. The man who was washing his face with river water was called Zhu. He was about 30 years old and only 175 centimeters tall. He didn't have muscle lines all over his body like a Seam. On the contrary, his figure looked like very shriveled. But his hair is extremely long all the way to his waist. His hair is the same color as his teeth. His cheeks are sunken and his cheekbones are very prominent, making him look very scheming. "Are there still so many days? If we wait any longer, the big snow and ice will arrive." Xiao looked dissatisfied. The two of them were sent by the Dark Scorpion tribe to investigate the reasons for the collapse of the Black Snake tribe. Or they could have others destroy the Flame Dragon tribe together when there was a chance. Vent hatred. There is nothing we can do about it. After the big ice and snow arrives, we can only go to the nearby tribes to visit. Zhu shrugged his shoulders. The offline tribes of their Dark Scorpion tribe are in many places, so they are not afraid of running out of places to go. After speaking, he continued to hold up a lot of river water and started to wash his face. After all, he had been traveling for so long and felt uncomfortable all over. "You can't wash your face properly with river water at this time. I was really unlucky. I didn't expect to be assigned to investigate this matter." Xiao is a little speechless. What he hates most is doing this kind of thing, like investigating things. He doesn't like doing it at all. "There's nothing you can do about it? Do you think I like doing this kind of thing?" Zhu said angrily. He was not happy to do this kind of thing at all, but unfortunately the two of them cooperated very well, so they were arranged to do this job. let's go, finish the investigation quickly and finish this matter quickly," Zy urged. At this moment, he originally wanted to wait for the arrival of the big ice and snow in the tribe, so that he could live a comfortable life in the big ice and snow. Unexpectedly, he was sent out to do a task when the big ice and snow was coming. It was really full of dissatisfaction. Zhu stood up and shook his hands, shaking off the water on his hands. Tap tap tap. After the two drank a lot of water by the river, they got up and left, continuing towards the direction of the Yanlong tribe. Rustling. Swish swish. Various sounds of scraping against branches continued to sound, and they started to rush on their way again. "Why do you think the Black Snake tribe was solved so easily?" Xiao asked curiously. When he received the task, he was a little confused when he heard the process. The Black Snake tribe is very powerful among offline tribes. He didn't expect to be solved easily. "Who knows, this is why we want to investigate." Zhu waved his hands and said. But he was surprised when he received it. Obviously that tribe was the one that didn't have to worry about the least, but he didn't expect that it would be the tribe that was destroyed the fastest. It seems that the Yanlong tribe has a chance, otherwise it would be impossible to deal with the Black Snake tribe. "We must be careful this time," Xiao said seriously. He always felt that this time the matter was very serious, and it might be difficult to investigate the cause. I know, let's ask people near the Yanlong tribe first, and then sneak in to learn more, Zhu said seriously. This was his inner thought. He had been thinking about how to deal with it since he received the task. By the way, what kind of tribe is Yanlong tribe? Big tribe. Why haven't you heard of it before? Xiu frowned. He was confused when he heard the name of this tribe for the first time. After all, it was a tribe he had never heard of before. He didn't expect it to be so strong. I don't know, I can't defeat the Black Snake tribe so easily, they must be very strong. Zhu feels that this mission is really difficult. What really makes them feel embarrassed is that they don't know much about the Yanlong tribe. As the saying goes, only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle. But now that they don't understand the other party at all, they will inevitably feel confused. We can only take one step at a time, but when they hear our name, they will definitely shrink back, Xiao said firmly. The Dark Scorpion tribe can be said to be well known to everyone in this primitive era. Of course, it is just notorious. That's right, this is also our approach at critical times. Zhu thinks it makes sense. Okay, let's go quickly, otherwise we won't be able to sleep in a suitable place at night, Xiao said and continued running forward. Tonight it's your turn to hunt, Zhu followed and shouted loudly. Whoever lands the slowest will hunt, Xiu shouted without looking back. Zhu rolled his eyes and said, then you won't have anything to eat tonight. It's like this every time. Fourth update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 506. Chapter 506, Great Harvest. One more please customize. It seems that this grape harvest is really a bumper harvest. Subai looked at the grapes in the wooden shed with satisfaction. These grapes were planted from the grapevines he had grown out of the system before. After using the plant growth technique several times, they grew very fast. Now a grapevine is growing fast. It has covered half of the greenhouse, and it looks very green and beautiful. The point is that these green grapevines have also lifted a lot of grapes, all of which are purple. There are many purple grapes appearing in a large green leaf, too. Although the colors are different, they look particularly good together. It turns out this is Grape Yan, who raised her head and looked at the top of the wooden shed in surprise. The grapes that had been planted began to slowly climb up the side of the wooden shed to the top. In order to allow these grapes to grow better, they were also planted on the top of the wooden shed. There were many wooden sticks set up. So all the grapes climbed onto the wooden sticks above, and the horned lady rarely came to the wooden shed, so she had no idea about the growth of the grapes. Don't know. I didn't expect that this grape would grow so fast after not coming here for a while, and it would cover so many places at once, Shalan sighed. The cat-eared girl has to deal with a lot of things in the tribe recently, and she must take time to train, and she doesn't have time to come to the wooden shed, so she was a little surprised when she entered the wooden shed today. Before, they were all low-lying green, but now the green suddenly jumped up to the heights of the wooden shed, which was really a surprise. Woo, you can harvest it this way, right? Yu Ying's pink eyes have been falling on those purple grapes. The fox-eared girl is better than the others, because she comes to the greenhouse every day to take a look. So the growth of the plants in the greenhouse is very clear. Of course, I never thought that grapes could grow so big. Well, you can ask someone to bring some baskets and some tall ladders. All these grapes can be harvested. Subai nodded and said. The purple grapes on the vine are completely ripe. If they are not picked in time, they will only rot. Yes, Yu Ying nodded, turned around and asked the people waiting outside the wooden shed to get the basket and ladder. The ladder was made by the tribe a long time ago, and it is not difficult to splice several wooden sticks together. Tap tap tap. 10 minutes later, the fox-eared lady had many baskets and ladders brought in, and the ladders were set up under the areas where there were more grapes. Yanhua immediately stood up and volunteered. Can I pick the grapes first? The adventurous spirit of the horn lady was fully revealed at this moment. She really wanted to pick these grapes herself. This was the first time I saw the color of these grapes. I didn't expect that the green leaves would actually produce purple grapes. What's more, these grapes are growing densely together, and each one looks very plump and delicious. Woo, I want to pick it too. Shalan also climbed up another ladder. Well, be careful. These grapes are relatively fragile, so be gentle and just pinch them off at their roots, Sudbai warned. He wasn't worried about those beast-eared girls being injured. After all, they were all very skilled warriors. The only thing he was worried about was that they ruined all the grapes. He had to try the grapes that finally grew. It's the taste that matters. We know, we will be very careful, the girls said in unison, and climbed up the ladder one after another to start picking grapes. They picked the large bunch of plump purple grapes from the grapevine, then turned around and handed them to the fox-eared girl who was waiting below. Everyone cooperated very well. With a tacit understanding, within a short time several baskets were filled with grapes. Originally it was just a grapevine, but unexpectedly it grew so many. After the girls filled the baskets, there are still many grapes that have not been picked. Woo, there are still a lot of grapes. Yanhu looked at several big bunches of grapes on the grave not far away. Don't worry, just eat these first, and then give some to the chief and Kanji. Sudbai looked up at the remaining grapes and continued, the remaining grapes can be used to make wine. Wine is also a rare alcoholic drink in this primitive era, and it is better than wheat wine. Wine? Woo, is it the same as the wheat wine brewed before? Yu Ying asked curiously. Yes, this wine tastes better than wheat wine, Sudbai smiled and said. Wu wondered, is the brewing method the same as brewing wheat wine? Yu Ying looked up at the grapes on the vine and continued, if they are the same, leave it to me. Fox-eared lady really wants to try to do something herself, so that she can also help the tribe. It doesn't have to be so complicated, the method of making wine is simple, Sudbai said. Because you drink the wine yourself, you don't have to worry about it. It can be done in just 2 steps and it doesn't take long. Which, is it also very complicated? If so, please teach me. Yu Ying is very curious about this matter. It's not complicated at all, it's very simple, you just need to wash the grapes, mash them, and add some sugar, Sudbai said with a smile. The method of making wine is that simple, and then let it sit for a while. Then you can drink it. When drinking, you just need to filter out the residue. It turns out it's that simple. I'll do it when I get back, but we don't have it, no sugar. Yu Ying is very unfamiliar with this term. In primitive times, there was no sugar, and they had no idea about the concept of sugar. We can also make our own sugar, which is not difficult. Sudbai looked at the sugar canes in the corner. These sugar canes were also grown by the previous system and can be harvested after several plant growth techniques. Woo, what is sugar? You can actually make it yourself, Yu Ying asked curiously. Sugar is sweet when you eat it, and it is something that makes people happy, Sudbai said lightly. There are many people on the earth who say that they eat a candy when they are unhappy. It can be said that candy is very important. Woo, what else do we need to prepare to make sugar? Yu Ying shook her pink foxtail to get interested. As long as it was about making new edible things, the fox-eared girl would be particularly excited. Just take back those sugar canes in the corner and use those things to craft, Sudbai ordered. We just happened to take advantage of this time to collect all these things in the greenhouse. Anyway, it's time to harvest. Please update for support and customization. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 507. Chapter 507, A Fascinating Taste. 2 more please customize. Sudbai and others all returned to the second floor of Yong'an building. There were a lot of grapes and sugar cane in the living room. Those black sugar canes are long and thick and look very sweet, and the juice seems to be very abundant. Woo, how can these sugar canes be made into sugar? Yu Ying is already a little impatient. The fox-eared girl's pink eyes have been falling on the black sugar cane, and she wants to try the taste of the sugar cane. Don't worry, just cut a few sections of sugar cane and try it to see if it tastes sweet, Subai ordered. The sugar cane has not been tasted since it was planted until it was harvested. It is better to try it first to see if it is sweet or not. Only after trying the taste of sugar cane can we have a better grasp of how to make sugar cane sugar. Good Yu Ying picked up the sections of sugar cane and was suddenly stunned and asked how do you peel these sugar canes? This is the first time fox-eared girl has seen sugar cane, so she doesn't know how to get rid of the skin. Give it to me first and I will demonstrate it to you once, Subai said softly. He took the sugar cane and picked up a bone knife and started peeling it. Swish swish swish. The sound of the bone knife touching the sugar cane skin was very clear, and a section of black sugar cane was cut clean in a short time. Okay, now you can eat it directly, Subai handed over a section of peeled sugar cane. Yu Ying took the peeled sugar cane with both hands, tilted her head and looked at it, and asked Wu, can you eat it directly? When the fox-eared lady saw the section of white sugar cane, she didn't know how to eat it for a moment. And the sugar cane was originally dark, so why did it suddenly become so white? Well, just take a bite, chew the juice, and spit out the remaining residue, Subai said softly. Although the taste of sugar cane is very sweet, it is troublesome to eat. You have to peel and spit out the residue. After he finished speaking, he took out the bones and peeled a few sugar canes out for himself. I kept one and passed the rest to the girls. Like this, Subai took a bite and started chewing. Seeing the confusion on the faces of the girls, he could only demonstrate by himself. Click. Click. After the girls saw it, they imitated it in a good way, and they all took a bite and started chewing. After taking a few bites, Yu Ying's pink eyes widened and she said in surprise, "Oh my god, this tastes too good. It's so delicious." The fox-eared lady's mouth is filled with the sweetness of sugar cane. This taste is unprecedented. It is a taste that cannot be brought out by eating those wild fruits or eating some sweeter wild fruits before. It's really delicious. It turns out this is the taste of sugar cane. Yanhua was also impressed at once. She originally thought this thing looked so strange, so it must not taste very good, but she didn't expect it to be so delicious. It's very sweet. No wonder it can be used to make sugar shale inside, chewing the sugar cane in her mouth. The cat-eared girl doesn't like eating very sweet things, but she likes the taste of this sugar cane. The taste of sugar cane is not very sweet, it has that refreshing feeling, so it's very comfortable to eat. Never swallow those things, chew them until they are tasteless and then spit them out, Subai warned. He was a little worried that those girls would eat all the dregs like fruits. This would not be easy to digest. I see. After Yanhua spit out the dregs in her mouth, she took another big bite. Niujiao Niang's teeth are better, and every bite feels crunchy. Even if she bites the nodule, it doesn't feel hard. In addition, the same goes for everyone else. In just a few minutes, they all ate all the sugar cane in their hands. The sweetness of the sugar cane left everyone with a lingering aftertaste, and their eyes turned to the remaining unpeeled sugar cane. Wu, does the sugar made from these sugar canes also taste like this? Yu Ying asked curiously. It's almost the same, but the sugar taste will be a little stronger and sweeter, Subai said softly. Wu, what do these grapes taste like? Yanhua held a bunch of grapes and resisted the urge to eat them. Then you should try it, it tastes very good, completely different from sugar cane. Subai also wanted to try the taste of grapes. After Yanhua got the affirmative answer, she picked several grapes without hesitation and ate them directly. As soon as she bit into them, the juice of those grapes burst out. I opened my red eyes wide. It's sour and sweet, And it tastes completely different from the sugar cane just now, Yanhua said in shock. What she didn't expect was that the taste of these grapes would be so delicious. It was completely incomparable to the taste of the wild fruits she had eaten before. The wild fruits she had eaten before were all astringent and sour, very sour. It's rare to find delicious wild fruits. Then I'll give it a try too. Shalan also picked a grape and put it in his mouth. After eating, he praised it's delicious, it has a very unique taste. The unique texture of purple grapes and the sweet and sour taste will really make people like it. It turns out this is the taste of grapes. I didn't expect it to look so good and taste so good. Yu Ying was so happy that she kept holding her face with both hands. Eat more grapes. Eating too many grapes is good for your health, Subai said with a slight smile. Eating too much grapes is good for the body. It not only reduces swelling but is also a diuretic, and has various other benefits. In addition, there are a lot of grapes in the greenhouse, so if you want to eat them, you must eat them. Most of the rest is used directly to make wine. Woo, I wonder what the wine will taste like? Yanhua asked curiously. You will know by then, you will definitely like the wine, Subai said firmly. There are so many unpalatable foods in this era, and the people of the primitive tribes are very happy to eat them. Not to mention the sweeter drinks like wine, which will definitely win the hearts of everyone. Ying nodded thoughtfully and asked expectantly, Woo, let's start making candy. The fox-eared girl's pink foxtail keeps wagging, and she looks very excited. Well, let's take these sugar canes and wash them first. The dirt on the surface must be brushed away, Subai ordered. Because the first step in making sugar from sugar cane is to extract the juice from the sugar cane. In this primitive era, there was no juicer. You must have rolled stones to crush the juice from the sugar cane. Press it out. So this operation requires the sugar cane itself to be very clean, otherwise the juice you press out will be dirty. Yes, Yu Ying nodded and said. Second update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 508. Chapter 508, A Magical Scene. One more, please customize. In just half an hour, all the sugar cane was cleaned, even the grapes were cleaned. Woo, these sugar canes have been washed, we can start. Yu Ying kept wagging her pink foxtail. The fox-eared girl always had a smile on her face. It can be said that she is looking forward to everything next. Well, the first thing to do is to get all the juice out of these sugar canes, as Subai said. He placed the sugar cane between two washed round stones. Those two round stones were specially selected to crush the juice of the sugar cane. The gap between the two round stones was not it is very big, but it is enough for the sugar cane to pass through. As long as the sugar cane passes through, the two round stones will roll when the sugar cane is pulled hard. In this way, the sugar cane will be crushed and the juice of the sugar cane will flow down. And the two stones, the round stones, were placed on top of a large wooden basin, so that all the juice flowing out would drip into the wooden basin. Crunch, crunch. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The sugar cane made a crisp sound when it was crushed by the round stones, and the sugar cane juice also fell into the wooden basin. Smell good. Yu Ying immediately smelled the fragrance of sugar cane. It's really fragrant, and all the juice from the sugar cane comes out. Shalan also watched the scene attentively. Every time he saw the witch preparing something new, it was very interesting. He could turn decay into a legend in just a few clicks. Woo, can you let me try it? Yanhua asked eagerly from the side. Every time at this time, Niojiao Niang was the one who wanted to participate the most. She felt like she was missing something if she didn't do it herself. Sure, come on, Subai nodded and said, this is a physically demanding job. Since someone wants to try it, let her try it. Yanhua half sticked out her tongue, came to the stone with a playful look, and picked up the sugar cane is being operated in a decent manner. Crunch, crunch. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Under the manipulation of the horned lady, the sugar cane juice also flowed down the stone. Out, out! Yanhua was so happy that she kept shouting. This scene is so fulfilling. I want to try it too. Yu Ying, who was watching from the side, also wanted to try it. Bring it on! Yanhua generously gave up her position, then took a small section of sugar cane and started chewing it. Just squeezing the sugar cane juice took a lot of time, and it took more than an hour to fill a wooden basin of sugar cane. Water. Wu, what should we do next? Yu Ying asked, looking at the basin of sugar cane water. The next step is to clean up the sugar cane water before making sugar, Subai said. Wu, but this sugar cane water is very sweet, what else do you want to do? Yu Ying asked curiously. Although it is very sweet, there are also many non-sugar things in it, and purification means getting rid of all these things, Subai explained briefly. Yu Ying looked confused and asked Wu, how should we do this step? Is there anything you need me to do? This step is not that simple. Get me some lime, those great things that I found in the hunting ground before, Subai ordered. When he was at the hunting ground before, he discovered lime. This discovery surprised him a lot. Okay, I'll go right away, Yu Ying said immediately. Wu, but aren't those great things stones? Can it be put inside? Shalan asked curiously. Okay, you'll know after you watch it, Subai smiled slightly. On the other side of the earth, the method of purifying sugarcane juice is lime powder and sulfurous acid. This is relatively common and simple. Tap tap tap. 10 minutes later, the fox-eared lady found the lime powder, and Subai started to operate it after taking it. Wu, what should I do after the step? Yu Ying has always kept the steps in her mind. The next step is evaporation, which means the sugar juice is heated to evaporate and concentrate, turning into syrup that can be boiled and crystallized, Subai explained simply. After he explained, he started his own operation, putting the sugarcane juice in the pot to evaporate. Subai kept stirring the sugarcane liquid in the iron pot to ensure that they were stirred evenly, and the syrup gradually became sticky. Thicker. Wu, why did those things start to become sticky? Yu Ying looked at the scene in surprise. Just continue cooking for a while, Subai said, but the movements of his hands still did not stop. The syrup in the iron pot began to become thicker and thicker, and then it was poured into a plate. Wu, this is good, right? Yu Ying moved her pink eyes closer to look at. Well, just wait until it cools down, Subai nodded. It is not difficult to make sucrose by yourself. It's amazing how so much water has turned into so little. Yanhua also moved her red eyes closer. Is this good? It doesn't seem very difficult. Shalan also remembered the making steps. Half an hour later, the cane sugar on the plate had cooled and turned into a large piece. Wu, does this count as a successful production? Yu Ying asked, looking at the red cane sugar on the plate. Subai also leaned over to take a look, touched it with his hand, nodded with satisfaction and said, yes, it worked. He broke off a piece and put it into his mouth to feel the sweetness, and found that the taste was also very good. Wu, can I try it too? Yu Ying kept blinking her pink eyes. Of course, everyone should try it, Subai said softly. The others all broke off a piece and put it into their mouths. The sweetness was not very sweet, but the taste was very good, which made them all praise again and again. It's delicious, so delicious. It's different from just eating sugar cane. This is sugar, and the process of making it is amazing. I like the taste of this very much, I can eat it all day long. The girls were all impressed by the smell. Sure enough, there were surprises when following the witch. Does it taste okay? Subai also likes this taste. Okay, I like it very much. Wu, can we start making wine now? Yu Ying started to get excited again. Although she had just watched the production of sugar cane sugar, she still had something else to look forward to in her heart. After all, this sugar cane sugar was originally made for brewing wine, so she would definitely not forget it. Ha 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 ha, Subai smiled heartily and said, okay, I'll tell you the process. Try it yourself. Yes, thank you, Wu Yuying said immediately. Wu, can we try it too? Yanhua squinted her eyes and smiled, looking like a child. Certainly, Subai said with a smile. Please update for support and customization. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 509. Chapter 509, the air seems to be condensed. 2 more please customize. Swish swish. 2 figures in the forest jumped down from the trees and hid behind the dense bushes. The 2 of them just followed each other. After rushing in the forest for many days, they finally arrived near the Yanlong tribe. The hiding place now is the forest next to the Yanlong tribe, and both of them look very tired. Maybe it's because I've been traveling for a long time, and I haven't found the direction yet, so I look very tired. Is this the Yanlong tribe? Xiao asked suddenly. Since I couldn't find the direction in the past few days, I was a little doubtful even when I arrived near the Yanlong tribe. That should be it, this is the direction they mentioned before, Zuye said dubiously. They had collected a lot of information before and probably knew the direction of the Yanlong tribe. So let's take a look here first to see if it's true, Xiu said with squinted eyes. Then I'll go find something to eat first. I'm really hungry. Zhu touched his belly. He had been on the road since the tribe came out, and he didn't have much to eat. Moreover, the Yanlong tribe was far away from their tribe, and it took a lot of time on the way. Go ahead and find some for me, I won't go. Xiao turned around and said. I've been a little tired of hunting these days. After all, when I was in the tribe, I didn't even have to hunt to get food. Zhu took a step and left. Tap tap tap. More than an hour later, he came back with 2 hares, but they were already processed and roasted. Because they also know that they cannot light bonfires near the Yanlong tribe, so they can easily reveal their location. Zhu threw the hare in his hand. After sewing the hare, he started to feast and said, I haven't seen anyone come out after watching for a long time. No one came out for so long? Don't their tribe need to prepare for the big ice and snow? Zhu asked curiously. How do I know this? Anyway, there is no one there, and it seems very quiet. Xiao's mouth was full of oil. Zhu frowned and looked in the direction of the Yanlong tribe and asked, what are those big wooden houses? Why was it built so big? He immediately saw the wooden sheds outside the entrance of the Yanlong tribe, and there were quite a few of them. I don't know, it should be for people to live in, but it shouldn't be built so big for people to live in. Xiao waved his hand and said. In fact, he had already seen it when he was there just now, but he didn't see anyone coming out. Forget it, but it seems that the wooden houses are not arranged so closely. Are there so many people in this tribe that they can only live outside? Zhu asked doubtfully. He saw that the tree trunks of the green houses outside were very simple and very tall. They were completely different from ordinary wooden houses. Like the wooden houses that ordinary people live in, the corners are cut off. Make it smoother. The greenhouse outside is completely different now. Those tree trunks are relatively rough. But even if there are people living outside, you should still be able to see people coming in and out, right? Why didn't I see anything? Besides, it's too big. How many people are going to live there? Xiang said doubtfully. Log houses have never been built to such a big size. Usually they are small and a family lives in one. It is a bit outrageous to suddenly build such a big one with several of them. The first one was built. It's more difficult and time-consuming. Secondly, it occupies a large area and leaves very little usable space, so it's not cost-effective no matter how you calculate it. Did I see it wrong? Or has the land before them been plowed? Zhu rubbed his eyes vigorously. He wondered if he had seen it wrong. All the land in front of him had been turned over, and many things were planted on it. and there were many things that he had never seen before. Those things were, what is it used for? For eating or for use? They are very confused. You read that right, all those lands have been plowed over. It's really a strange tribe. Xiao curled his lips and said. He found that the tribe hadn't entered yet, but he found something very different at the door. I just heard the sound of water. Is this tribe close to a river? Zhu suddenly asked. It must be. I have been hearing the sound of water. Xiu nodded and continued. Should we find a way to get in? Only in this way can the task be completed. He planned to go in and said, instead of guessing outside, it would be more direct to go in directly. Have you thought of any good ideas? I didn't even see anyone coming out. How are we going to get in? Zhu asked curiously. He originally thought that if someone came out, he could pretend to ask for directions or get lost and let them take him into the tribe. Without seeing anyone coming out, this is going to be tricky. Xiao curled his lips and said. He originally thought of the same thing as the other party, but he had no choice but to stay outside the tribe for so long without seeing it. How about we pretend to be hurt and go straight to their door and let them take us in first? Zhu suggested. This was the only way he could think of, so as not to arouse other people's suspicions. This is a good idea, but we have to be really injured, otherwise it will arouse suspicion, Xiao said thoughtfully. I think it's a good idea. Zhu also nodded. The two people were suddenly stunned. The air seemed to be as quiet as condensation. The two people looked at each other and neither of them spoke. You come? Xiao suddenly asked. Second update, please support and customize. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 510. Chapter 510, Acting. 3 more requests for customization. Zhu's eyes widened, he looked at the other person questioningly, and asked, are you serious? He didn't want to get hurt in his heart. Although he was a totem warrior, no one wanted to hurt himself. Injured? Well, you are not as tall as me, so they will believe it more if you are injured, Xiao said without hesitation. He didn't want to get hurt himself. If he could hurt others, he would definitely let others come. He would not go. This seems to make sense, but I don't want to. Zhu shook his head repeatedly and said. Come on, stop inking, or you'll be delayed for a long time again, Xiao urged. He didn't want to give the other party a chance to think. He wanted to solve it on the spot, and then he could go into the Yanlong tribe. In this way, he could get some food in the Yanlong tribe and no longer have to hunt outside. Okay, I get it, let's do it, Zhu said with his eyes closed. He was also very helpless at this moment. But this is also the reason why they have been able to cooperate until now. They both believe in each other. Xiao nodded and took the bone knife he carried with him and scratched a big line on Zhu's arm. Bright red blood immediately emerged, and the entire arm was covered with blood, and it was still lowered to the ground. Ah! Zhu gritted his teeth and looked at his hand, and said, you are too harsh, drawing such a big road. This will be more realistic and they will believe it. Xiao waved his hand and said, signaling the other party not to make a fuss. If you keep waiting for me, it will be you next time, and this time you will do this to me. Zhu rolled his eyes and said. Xiu shrugged his shoulders and said nonchalantly, okay, I understand. Come on, if you keep bleeding, you'll die. Zhu Dang walked in front first, covering the wound with one hand. Sui followed behind and whispered, I will help you in a moment. Just close your eyes and don't talk. I know, Zhu was a little impatient. The wound was really painful. Tap tap tap. Xiu Dan and Zhu kept walking towards the gate of the Yanlong tribe, while the latter kept pretending to be unconscious. They walked for more than 10 minutes, passed through the forest, and arrived at the gate. The two of them immediately pretended to be paralyzed on the ground. Is there anyone? Come and help me. Someone is injured here, Xiao kept shouting at the top of his lungs. Zhu looked at the door of the Yanlong tribe with half-squinted eyes, but immediately closed it, pretending to be injured and unconscious, so that he could bring them into the tribe. Come on, someone is dying here, please come on over, Xiao continued to shout. 10 minutes later, the people patrolling around the Yanlong tribe heard the sound and opened the door of the Yanlong tribe. Crunch. Several totem warriors and reserve warriors came out with spears and crocodile knives, and surrounded the two people directly. Who are you? What are you doing here? The mountain bear looked at the two of them seriously, holding the crocodile knife in his hand very tightly. If the other party made any change, he would directly chop the other party to death. We are members of a wandering tribe. Unfortunately, we got separated from other people, and our companions were attacked by ferocious beasts, so we had no choice, Xiao explained quickly. The expression on his face was pretending to be pitiful, which was completely different from the usual ferocious expression. Now he can be said to be at the level of an actor, and the scenes he performed were all perfect. Zhu was also very good at it at this moment. He kept his eyes closed and did not dare to take a breath. Even if the wound was very painful, he still had to pretend to be unconscious. You encountered a vicious beast in the forest and were injured, Mountain Xiong frowned and looked at them. Although he was a relatively honest person, he always felt that this sentence was untrustworthy and kept looking at them with suspicious eyes. We are all serious, please save my companion, otherwise he will really die, Xiao said quickly. He thought his excuse was very good. Because they were homeless, they didn't have to explain their tribe clearly. Because they were homeless, they didn't have witch dominoes, so there was nothing they could do if they were injured. It is normal to stop the bleeding. There is no need to explain why there are only two of them now. He thinks this excuse is very good. In addition, his companion is really injured, so the credibility is too high. Mountain Bear remained silent for a long time without speaking. After a few minutes, someone took the two of them into the tribe. However, they were not allowed to enter the central area of the tribe directly. Instead, they were allowed to stay in the wooden house next to the gate. Tap tap tap. After Shan Xiong had someone arrange for the two of them, he ran non-stop to find the chief. Half an hour later, he found the chief and explained the whole story clearly. They said they were exiles. Yan Jiao also found the other party's description tonight to be full of doubts. Yeah, but I don't think they look like them at all. They look like people from a normal tribe, although a little weird. Shan Xiong recalled the appearance of those two people. He always felt that the appearance of those two people was very strange. They did not look like ordinary people in the tribe. They also did not look like exiles. Generally, those people were relatively messy, but it's not tidied up like the two of them. Where was the person injured? Is it serious? Yan Jiao continued to ask. After all, the Yanlong tribe does not take people in casually. At this time, we still need to investigate seriously. What's more, those two people obviously look like totem warriors, so this point needs to be questioned even more. Got it? The injury was on the arm, but it wasn't serious, Shan Xiong said. Yan Jiao frowned and continued, if there is anything else that's different, tell me, and then I'll report it to the witch. Yes, Mountain Bear nodded and said everything at once. Third update, please support and customize. I was a village chief in a primitive society. Author, Big White Monster. Chapter 511. Chapter 511, Poor Performance. For more updates, please customize. After Yan Jiao listened to Shan Xiong's description, he headed towards Yong'an Tower without stopping. Because I always feel that something is not right this time, but I have to report everything to Wu first. Tap tap tap. 10 minutes later, he came to the second floor of Yong'an building and explained the whole story again. Yan Jiao's expression was very serious. He stood upright and asked, how should we deal with these two people? From now on, you are fully qualified to make your own decisions about tribe matters, Subai said seriously. The reason why he said this was because he wanted Yan Jiao to help him share some of the burden. After all, he wanted to control the direction of the tribe's development, and it was difficult to control these small things. What's more, he didn't want the tribe to people feel that everything is controlled by him alone. After all, the other party is the chief, and he should be allowed to try the feeling of managing the tribe. Therefore, usually just let him handle such matters directly. It is not a big deal anyway. Matter? Wu, this matter is not as simple as it seems. The two of them seemed to have planned it, Yan Jiao explained immediately. When he heard the other party say this, he must have known that his expression was not clear enough, so he quickly added some more. Oh? How to say? Subai raised his eyebrows slightly. He just heard what the other party said, as if there were two injured people in the tribe, and they looked suspicious. Since it was just a small matter, let the other party deal with it directly. Okay, there is no need to question yourself again. But he heard that this matter seemed not simple, so he became interested immediately. The injured man seemed to have been injured on purpose in order to enter our tribe. Yan Jiao recalled for a while and continued, moreover, the two of them don't look like exiles in terms of their clothing or appearance. Instead, they look like they came from a regular tribe. He explained all the details clearly and made sure not to miss a word. Is there such a thing? If you go by what you said, then the other party does intend to enter our Yanlong tribe. Subai became serious. Now, after listening to everything, he realized that things were really not that simple. Yes, Wu, do you want to kill them directly? Yan Jiao asked immediately. If anyone wants to invade the tribe, he will never allow it. No, you just said someone was injured. Did you send someone to treat it? Subai asked. Yan Jiao immediately shook his head and said, not yet. I asked them not to worry about them yet. First, ask someone to move the injured person out, then tell another person to take him out for treatment, then ignore him and then kill him after moving him out. Subai looked serious and continued to order, as for the original person, just lock him up for me, and then I will interrogate him personally. He has never interrogated anyone before, and this time he was just able to have a good time. The reason why he had to remove that person alone and then kill him was to make the other person let down his guard and not be too guarded. I see. Yan Jiao nodded. Although he didn't know what he wanted to do, he always felt that Wu's decision was right. Tap tap tap. He stepped away and walked towards the wooden house, and then asked people to make arrangements according to the witch's orders. He Chuan left immediately after receiving the order, and installed the order to move the man out. Where are you taking him? Xiao immediately stood up straight and asked. He was still worried that no one would come, so he secretly chatted with Zhu for a while when no one was around. He immediately stopped talking when he heard the noise. If you don't want your companion to die, just stay here and we will take him for treatment. Hechuan said in a decent manner. After hearing this, Xiu nodded repeatedly and said excitedly, okay, take him to treatment quickly, he is really dying. My acting skills at this moment are still very good, both in words and expressions. Just stay here for now, and you will naturally bring your companion back when he is healed, Hechuan said seriously. Yes, then I will leave him to you, Xiao said without hesitation. He was already thinking about what to do next, thinking about investigating the Yanlong tribe. What secrets are there that can make the entire Black Snake tribe disappear? Even if they take those strange weapons, and those big wooden houses at the gate. He wanted to understand all of these, as long as he could stay in this tribe for a day or two. Hechuan left the wooden house with the group of people without saying another word, without looking back during the process. Tap tap tap. Hechuan brought Zhu outside the tribe again, looked at him seriously, and said, stop pretending. Zhu was obviously panicked, but his experience over the years told him not to speak yet. He still closed his eyes tightly, still the same, not even daring to take a breath. "Don't you think what you did is too bad?" "Who can't see such a poor performance?" Hechuan asked bluntly. Although Zhu closed his eyes, the sweat on his forehead began to roll down in large drops after hearing these words. He couldn't help but swallow, but the most fatal thing was the swallowing sound. "The grunting sound is too loud." "Still want to keep pretending?" Hechuan continued to ask. He was already waving the crocodile knife in his hand. "As long as the other party doesn't speak, he will meet and understand the other party. Anyway, there is still a lively person in the tribe, so just ask him then. This person, it doesn't matter whether he's dead or not." Zhu opened his eyes suddenly and asked in shock, "How did you know?" He always felt that the two of them performed very well, but he didn't expect to be discovered. And they were discovered in such a short period of time, and even separated the two of them. This meticulous logic is too scary. Like this, thinking about it, it's no wonder that the entire Black Snake tribe was destroyed. Just from the details, you can see how terrifying this tribe is. How do we know? That's a question you have to ask yourselves. Don't you think your performance is too dazzling? Hechuan laughed mercilessly. In fact, he could tell at a glance that no exile was so neatly dressed. What's more, both of them are totem warriors, and the injured area was obviously not a big wound. And it looked like a very new wound, so why did he fall into a coma all of a sudden? "I do not know what you're talking about." Zhu is still struggling to his death at this moment. "You don't need to know any more." Hechuan waved the crocodile knife in his hand and chopped it down. In an instant, blood spattered. Fourth update: please support and customize.